Hello, I'm going to show you today how to wallpaper a very small room, and this is a very small room. Now usually when you wallpaper a room like this is going to be, as you can see by this stuff on the wall, this is going to be a loo. So what we do usually is you start in the middle and you measure the middle and you work your way around the wall towards the door. But because this room is very small and the wallpaper is wider than the room, we're going to put a whole piece on the end wall here and then work our way to the door. The way to do it is to take it round, and hopefully where I've drawn a line down the wall here and here, this is where the wallpaper will end, because I've measured it all up and it's 90 centimeters wide and the wall itself is only 77 centimeters wide. But if the wall itself isn't even, then we just cut it around the corners, and I'll show you exactly what I mean when I get started. Now this is a sort of job that even decorators find awkward, so I hope that I'll be able to show you how to do it effectively and relatively simply. Now, as the room is so small, we can't actually roll out the wallpaper in the room. So what I've done is I've found a bit more floor space in the kitchen, and I've put some bits of tape on the floor. They're 2 meters 30 away from each other, and I've cut 5 lengths of wallpaper, which is enough to take it round the room. Now, this is an absolutely beautiful wallpaper. It's rather heavy, so basically we have to have it cut before we hang it. Always make sure you have the tools with you before you start. You'll need a brush for smoothing out the wallpaper, a brush for applying the wallpaper, a straight edge for cutting the edges, and a knife and a spatula. All these things are very important to have first. The spatula is a matter of choice. You can either use a brush or the spatula to get the bubbles out. Now first of all, you apply the glue, which is a strong ready mixed adhesive, straight onto the wall. Doesn't matter particularly where you start. Take it into the corners. Make sure you put lots on because it's a heavy wallpaper. Take it right down to the ground and take it into the edges, as I said before. And then for the second part, use the brush. Use this for taking it around where the glue is actually going to go. Don't worry about getting glue onto the bits and bobs. Do the bottom first because that's slower to dry. I mean, sorry. And then take it into the top afterwards. Make sure you're very liberal with the glue because it's important. It's rather to have too much than too little. Now this particular wallpaper has this little symbol on the box. I don't know if you can see that. It's an arrow going up and an arrow going down. A lot of people ask me about that. What it means is that you hang the wallpaper one up and the next one down and the next one up again. Don't ask me why, I don't know why, but apparently that's what you're supposed to do, so that's what we're going to do. So I've marked every alternate bit of wallpaper with an arrow and an A or a B. So A is up and B is down. I'm going to start now. First of all, for this type of wallpaper, drop it down to the floor. Take the ladder away a little bit. and take it round. Take it to the even on each side and work your way round to the top. Now, as you can see, take it round the corners, and then there's a hole in the middle. So first of all we cut around that. As close to the edge as we can. We can always fix it properly afterwards. We can use that bit afterwards. The next problem, of course, is this part where the actual toilet flusher is going to go. So you cut around here very carefully, feeling where the box underneath is. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because the flusher for the loo is going to be covering the edges anyway. Hope you can see what I'm doing through me. Push it down, working your way down to the bottom of the wall, smoothing it out, and then we come to the bit where the actual lavatory will go itself. So we take that. This bit is the one where it really doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be covering when the loo is put in, all will be covered. It's just to take it away and as quickly and effectively as possible. And work it all the way down. And then using the spatula or the brush, just keep on smoothing. Until you get as even a corner as possible. then what we do afterwards is cut away. The quicker you can do this, the better. Just to push it into the corner. Use the end of the knife if you have a little bit of metal like this. Just push it in and then cut away using quite a bit of force, but not too much, otherwise you might cut into the corner. And then doing the same on this side. Leave that for now. And then do the bottom. This is the most difficult part. So once you've got this part done, the rest is relatively easy. Make a cut in the corner so that you can move it round. And then the bottom doesn't have to look quite as good as the top, because there is going to be a skirting around the bottom. There should always be a skirting in a room where you're going to use a sink and a loo, because of water maybe moving up the wallpaper, which can eventually go a little bit rotten. So just take it around. And then, as I said, apply a little bit of pressure with the straight edge. And the same here. Now, make sure all the bubbles are out. Go over it with a spatula everywhere you can. Now, because this wall isn't even, I'm going to remove these side bits. It's very simple. Just take it into the corner as far as you can. It's very, very rare to find a room in an old house where the corners are absolutely even. So it's something I was expecting I would have to do. Just remove all the rubbish out of the way. Bring the straight edge about half a centimetre away from the corner and cut all the way down. Now, of course, you couldn't do this if you had a wallpaper with a repeat pattern, but because this doesn't have a repeat pattern, it's okay to do it. And it's absolutely necessary in this particular room. Now, it's a good thing not to throw this piece away, because you may be able to use it again. And do the same on the other side. Right, now for the next part, just make sure that the wallpaper is well and truly in the corner, and then measure roughly 90 centimeters from the end, and as the same with this wall, apply the glue. Now you'll notice that I painted the ceiling to go down the wall slightly. That's because when you're painting a wall for wallpaper, it's always best to have the ceiling going down rather than the paint peeking up over the edge of the wallpaper. So get it as close as you can to the edge. Remember to apply lots of glue. Right, and then apply the glue to the edges, getting it as close to the corner but not around the corner. Now to apply the next piece of wallpaper, take it through to the corner, make sure that it's pressed in up in the top. I hope you can actually see what I'm doing, and then shift it round so that it hugs the corner. Try to get as little glue on the top of the paper as you can, and make sure there's a few centimetres, a few inches of glue on the outside of it. Then remove the ladder if you've got room. And roll it down. Little tip I got. Roll it to the outside so you don't get glue on the front of the paper. Take it down to the corner, slide it into place, and there you have it. A lovely, lovely join. And then smooth out any bubbles. Now I'm going to use this because if I use the brush, which is very good for normal wallpaper, these bits can come off, little stones and things. So use the spatula type of thing instead, and just squeeze it out, push it into the corner, and then remove any air bubbles from the outside, from the inside to the outside, pushing it firmly down in the corners. This wallpaper gives a lovely effect. You'll see there's a hole in the ceiling, but it'll all become apparent when you see the finished result. But for now, just concentrate on the wallpapering. Very carefully put the ladder back. Use the back of the knife or anything you have at hand to push it in, and then trim off the top firmly but not too firm. remove the spatula just in case it doesn't come down, and then take off here. There you are. Just check it with the spatula. If there's any bits that aren't quite right, just go over them again afterwards. Sometimes when you have these little stones, the edges can be a little bit rough. That's part of the charm of the wallpaper. But it's nice to have a nice straight line at the top, if you can. And do the same again at the bottom. Remember, the bottom's not quite so important because there's going to be a skirting all the way around. There you are. Now for the next bit. You do these rooms quite quickly when the wallpaper is this wide. Just apply the wallpaper. You don't have to go right up to the other wallpaper because it's already got some glue that's overlapped, as I said before. So just do it as fast as you can without splashing any glue anywhere. Here's going to be a light switch, so we'll work our way around that. Just be a little bit careful on the edges. Just try to avoid actually taking the glue over onto the other wallpaper. There we go. And now what we do is we use the brush. Again, do the bottom first. And then go around where the light switches are going to go. Try not to get too much glue on the wires, although it doesn't really matter because the electrician will take most of the covering of the wires off anyway. And then take the brush along the top, and it's ready for the next piece of wallpaper. Now for the next piece. Now I just want to say, when you're hanging wallpaper like this, always roll it with the back of the paper on the outside. This is a little bit of advice that was sent to me by a guy called 60 Minute Steve, so thanks for that. It's to avoid getting any glue on the front of the paper. Just place it into position, starting at the top, and butt the joins together, and then take it down nice and slowly. There's absolutely no rush. If you're very lucky, you won't even see where it's joined. Use your hands to pat the wallpaper along, and before I cut the top and the bottom, the most important bit is to cut around where the lights will go. Now, it's a good idea sometimes, if you're a bit worried, to cut the middle bit first, then you can see basically what you're doing, because it can be quite unnerving cutting through very thick wallpaper. Onto a light switch, because you may obviously cut a little bit too wide. So first of all, cut a hole like that, and then push the wires through so that they don't get in the way. Be careful not to tear the wallpaper if you possibly can. And then take it, that's it, from the edge, feel your way around the sockets that the electrician has put in. It doesn't matter, you don't have to get it absolutely to the edge, because the actual light switches will be slightly wider, but it is important to not get it too wide around, because otherwise there'll be spaces. There we go, that's absolutely perfect, if I say so myself. Then just, doesn't really matter if you take the top or the bottom. I'll take the top anyway, just to be absolutely on the safe side. It's very warm in this room, so it's important to get this done as quick as you can. Otherwise the glue starts to dry a little bit, and then you have a little bit of a problem. There we go. That was great. Okay. And do exactly the same with the bottom. Just cut along there, nice and carefully. And then remove it. Then just make sure you haven't got any bubbles. Just smooth out the wallpaper. You don't want to discover bubbles after the wallpaper's dry. So this is the time to get rid of any. And there you have it. Now do exactly the same to the other side. Bringing the wallpaper to this wall. And then I'll show you what to do above the door. Seven. The very important, crucial part of the job, I've gone round the corners. I've just got the bit above the door to do. This is the bit we have to be a little bit careful and a little bit clever. Just put the paste on first, lift up the edges and put the paste underneath the overlap, and then continue to the other side. Try and do it as fast as you can. And then put that down with get up to the edges and apply the ready cut piece of vinyl wallpaper right up to the ceiling and down, and then when you've got it in place, you have to trim it. So first trim the top, just pushing the corners. Take the top and then remove the loose edge. And then give it a little wipe with the sponge, just to clean it up. Then the important bit is the sides. Cut it into the corner, take it down quite hard, remove the top bit. Remove the sides and then trim it even at the top, and you have your finished very small room. I hope that's been of some use to you. I've been Harry Anstice showing you how to wallpaper a very small room. I thought it would be a shame not to show you the final result, so here we are. There's so many endless possibilities of wallpaper, so I hope this has given you some ideas.